Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada Om Gunatito Aksharam Brahma Bhagavan Purushottamah Jano Janannidam Satyam Uchyate Bhavabandhanat Om Bhagavate Shri Swami Narayanaya Namaha Om Shri Lakshmi Narayanaya Namaha Om Shri Narnarayanaya Namaha Om Shri Radha Krishnaya Namaha Om Siyavara Ramachandraya Namaha Om Shri Hanumate Namaha Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha Om Dhyanamulam Gurur Murti Mantramulam Gurur Vakyam Mokshamulam Gurur Krupa Om Sarve Gurubhyo Namaha Om Guru Stotram Akhanda Mangala Akaram Vyaptamena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Guru Deva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Stavaram Jangavam Vyaptam Yat Kinchit Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Chaitan Chinmayam Vyapi Yat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sarvashruti Shiroratne Virajita Padambujaha Vedantambuja Suryo Yaha Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Chaitanya Shashvatam Shantaha Chaitanya Shashvatam Shantaha Vyoma Tita Niranjanaha Bindunad Kalatitaha Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gnana Shakti Samarudaha Tattvamala Vibhushitaha Bhukti Mukti Pradatacha Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Aneka Janma Samprapta Karma Bandha Vidaine Atmagnana Pradhanena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shoshanam Vapasinduscha Gnapanam Sarasapada Guru Padodakam Samyak Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Na Guru Radhikam Tattvam Na Guru Radhikam Tapaha Tattvagnanat Param Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Manyatha Shri Jagannatha Madguru Shri Jagadguru Madatma Sarvabhutatma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Guru Radir Anadischa Guru Paramadevatam Guru Parataram Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Tameva Mata Chapita Tameva Tameva Bandhu Shasakha Tameva Vidya Dravinam Tameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Iti Guru Stotram. So this Guru Stotram is a salutation and the adoration of the Sadgurus, of the state of the Sadgurus. And the essence of that whole stotra is that we are respecting and bowing down to our Gurus, our teachers, our Sadguru, Satpurush, that is blessing us, who is in that state beyond Maya. Each and every one of those verses is a description of the state beyond the three gunas of Maya. And true Sadguru, an enlightened being, is living in that dimension beyond the influence of the three gunas of Maya. So I want to continue on that point today, which we talked about yesterday, about the relationship between Maya and the Gunatit state. So along those lines, we all are aware, or at least we should be, that the expression of Maya is in three gunas: Sattvagun, Rajogun, Tamogun. This is quite well known, but just to understand this, I want to try to explain it in perhaps a little different way compared to yesterday. So let's begin with our life experiences. In our life, we have this body, obviously, and we have experience through the senses and the mind. So there are three types of experiences: Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic. And then there's also mixture. There can be Sattvagun, Rajogun mixed. There can be Rajogun, Tamogun mixed. There can be mixtures of these also. Now, these experiences, I'll give some examples just to be clear. Sattvic experience is where the mind is not agitated, not in the mode of passion, not Rajasic. It is Sattvic. Sattvic in the sense that it is a certain purity. There's a purification that's happened. The purification refers to the non-influence of Rajogun, Tamogun. Rajas and Tamas is not there. So right now, my mind is in sattvic modality. I can feel it, I can sense it. I'm talking about satsang, we're contemplating on great ideas. Mind is sattvic. Now, it doesn't mean that rajasic bhavana may not come. It could come while you're talking, something could come inside. Some thought from some other place could come inside. But we are deliberately, like in my case right now, I'm deliberately putting my attention on this particular satsang. So I am deliberately increasing the sattva gun. The sattva gun, the word guna, or it's actually called guna, and that means quality. It's the quality of the mind, the quality of the experience. Now, in the sattva experience, there are lower levels of sattva, medium levels of sattva, and extremely high levels. And the topmost level of sattva is called Shuddha Sattva. There's only sattva gun there. Now, this sattva gun is where we are interested, our mind becomes interested in study, in knowledge, in contemplating higher ideas. There is also a desire to see the benefit of all people. These types of qualities are sattvic in nature. Now here's the clincher in this. The sattva gun is called the chains of gold. It is still under Maya. And this is very difficult to understand. Most people who become sattvic, they may not realize that they are still in Maya. Even if the influence of Rajogun, Tamogun, the Rajas is passion, money, sex, position, power, bhog, Aishwarya, all this thing. This is all Rajogun. And the whole sansar is running in that direction, as I mentioned yesterday. Then Tamogun is a stone-like consciousness, non-experience. It's just dullness. There's no motivation to do anything. Somebody who's high on a drug is a good example of that. Just not wanting to do anything except to remain in that non-active state. And also, as far as the Rajogun goes, there are so many different types of desires in that prop up. Desire for tasty things, desire for more and more material type of experiences, desire for more and more stimulation through the senses, different kinds of stimuli. Maybe it's song, dance, music, so many things are there. We see that whole world, 99.999% of the world is in Rajogun and Tamogun. Only very, very few people are actually in that true Sattva gun modality. And even if they're there, they swing back and forth into Rajogun anyway. So this world is mostly Rajasic, mostly. Few percentages, I don't know exactly, but it's some percentage that is Sattvic, and then there's a percentage that is Tamasic. So Rajasic, Tamasic is majority. Now, to recognize the influence of the three gunas in our day-to-day activity in such a way that we recognize that that particular wave, that particular type of thought wave, emotional wave, that's the guna influence. That's the Rajogun reality. To recognize it and to perceive it that this is not who I am. That is actually the role of the Satguru, Sadguru, Guru Tattva, Sadguru Tattva, Satpurush Tattva. Like in Shiva temples, there's Murti of Dakshina Murti. That is from the Shiva line, that is the form of Shiva, is a Guru Tattva. In Bhagavad Gita, we say Sri Krishnam Vande Param Guru. Krishna Bhagwan is also Param Guru. There are many other gurus and Sadgurus. In Swaminarayan Sampradaya, there's a lot of emphasis on enlightened beings and sages. In other places also, like Ramakrishna Paramhans and others, have obviously talked about the same thing. So the Sadguru, Satpurush, is an individual, is a being who is not living under the influence of Sattva gun, Rajogun or Tamogun, although they're living in this world, just like we are. And our goal is to evolve into that gunatit state. But the problem is, the evolution can only go up to Shuddha Sattva Gun. There's no way to get into the gunatit state by self-effort. Although I say that with a qualifier, there is actually some unusual criteria to move into the gunatit state by self-effort. But that still requires tremendous satsang, guru krupa, all that thing. So there is a place for self-effort. But self-effort by itself doesn't take one beyond sattva gun. At the most, I can make myself sattvic. I can live a sattvic life. I can live a very pure life. I can do satsang. I can do this. I can do etc. So how do we go beyond that? And what is actually beyond sattva gun? Before we get to that, a little bit more clarification on these three gunas. These three gunas are the expressive interaction between the causal body and the outside world. That is the psychological process, psycho-emotive process, is the three gunas. The outside world, where the baby is born in the womb of the mother and experiences the outside world. But there's a causal body, karana sharira, that the jivatma is carrying, that has caused the rebirth, and then from that karana sharira, now the whole expression of life is available. That whole expression of life is the three gunas, are the three gunas. There's no experience of material reality as such without the three gunas. The three gunas are the experience of the material reality. So that is how they are born. You know, I see, let's say, let's assume for a moment that I like to eat French fries. So let's say I make them at home, and so I like them a particular way, let's say. Salt, pepper, whatever, and I enjoy that. You eat it. But the experience of enjoyment is rajoguni. So you put it in the mouth, you smell it, you taste it at a certain temperature, touch, all senses are involved. So something simple like that. Then there can be the desire to know, knowledge, study. These people who are professors in different universities and all, they are sattvic. Their mind is sattvic as such. Although there is rajogun, tamogun also. But when they're studying their material and doing research, that is a very sattvic activity as such. Even scriptural study, even the study of the Vedas, it's all within the three gunas. The Vedanta is aiming to go outside the three gunas. That's why in the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna Bhagavan is telling Arjuna, Trigunna Vishaya Veda, that the three gunas, the Veda mantras are within the three gunas. Sattvagun, Rajogun, Tamogun, and they help us to, or they will give us the experiences we're looking for within the three gunas. So for example, we say the Rudram and Chamakam, this Namah Shivaya mantra as an example, which is in the Rudram actually. Namah Shivayeti Bijam, Shivatarayeti Shaktihi, Mahadevayeti Kilakam, Shri Samba Sada Shiva Prasada Siddharte Jape Viniyogaha. This is one of the verses in there. Now, if somebody is worshipping Shiva and doing the Namah Shivaya mantra, why we're doing it? What do we want? So from the Namah Shivaya mantra, you can get, if you do the sadhana properly, if your intention is you want some material object, you want something to happen in the material world, you want some better relationships, or you want to have a child, or you want something in the material world. So that is why the Namah Shivaya mantra, as an example, which is a Ved mantra also, can be done. But if your intention is to learn Vedanta and to go outside the three gunas, the same mantra can provide a bridge to that. Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya. You start doing that, but your intention is to go beyond the three gunas. That Shiv mantra will take you to a certain stage, and then Bhagwan Shiv will then connect you properly into the gunatit state. through the right gurus and satsang, he'll create circumstances that will give you what you're looking for. It all has to do with what we want in life. Some people just want more sense stimulation. They want bigger cars, they want name, they want fame, they want status, they want those things. Or if you want those things, you can do sadhana for that. You will get them. Either in this life or next life, at some point you will. That is the guarantee of the Veda mantras. If you do the sadhana and you want the experiences of this world, at some point you will get them. And the more intense the sadhana, the faster those experiences come. That is called phalam, the phal, the fruit. When we do sadhana, there is a fruit that is being generated by God based on our desires, based on who we are, our personality, our mindset. So that fruit is the experience and the comfort and ease and happiness and non-friction and all those kinds of things in the material world. The material world is a prison. It's a jail. It's a Durga. And Durga Devi is the form of the goddess in charge of the material world. It's called Devi Dham. Devi Dham is this material world, and she's the jailer. And she holds the key to everything as far as what's going to happen in this material world, as well as if you want out of it, then she also holds that key too. And so that's why the different gurus that are gunatit, if they are actually gunatit, if we connect with them, we are actually going through and going through the material world, outside the material world, so that Durga Devi releases us. Even those who are not worshippers, they don't know, they may not even know about this, that's happening. But that's actually what happens. They may not know anything about Devi Tattva or how Durga Devi is form or Swarup or this material. They may not know all that. They just connect with a sage who is beyond the three gunas, and that transition out of the material world happens. Now, transition out of the material world while living in the material world is Jivan Mukti. That we're living in the material world, but the three gunas of Maya do not influence us. They don't touch us. We're living above Maya. People have tried to do this, and 99.999999999% have failed. Hardly anyone has ever escaped Maya. Hardly anybody. The reason is very simple. Because we don't want to escape Maya. We don't want to get out of it. Because we are so accustomed to being within the womb of Maya that infinite lifetimes have gone in every yoni and every species, in the Brahman, different Brahmans, this Brahman, etc. And infinite more will come about. Unless we have a desire, the one way out is we desire to go into the Gunatit state, to go outside of Maya into the Brahma Tattva, Akshara Tattva. So what is that? That is what all of the great acharyas in the Sanatana Dharma have talked about in their own way. And great sages and avatars and incarnations, their purpose is to bring the Jivatma out of Maya. Even Mahamaya is going to keep holding you inside there, because that is what we want. We don't have the realization of what Mahamaya even is. Mahamaya is a different subject. It's like the Mool Prakriti. And then out of that comes Maya. After there's a certain evolutionary process. That's much more technical stuff. We won't go into that right now. And then from a point comes where the Maya begins to express itself. And then this is the experience we have. So we need to be able to live in this world by taking the purest energy that is present within Sattvagun, Rajogun and Tamogun, and using that energy to connect with the Gunatit state. Okay, so that internal power that is inside the three gunas gets pulled away from the function of the three gunas. And once it gets pulled away from the function of the three gunas, it needs to be attached. In fact, the attachment towards the state of the Gunatit saints, whether it is Mirabai, whether it is Tukaram, Tulsidas ji, the people that have come in the whole world, whoever they may be, they are high-level devotees or Gunat, they're beyond the influence of Maya. So those, if we can recognize them from a tattvic point of view, in the Swaminarayan Sampradaya, there were some 500 Paramahansas. They were said to be living in this state. This is 250 years back. In other Sampradayas also, you will find this kind of thing. So, the energy that is within the three gunas, if it is applied with the intention of moving out of the three gunas, then that is like taking that sugar cane stick, putting it through the machine with the rollers, and on the one side the juice comes out, and on the other side you've got all of the other material, the plant material. So the juice has been taken out. So that juice that is taken out, that is the absolute undifferentiated power, that is energy, Shakti. That is the pure Shakti, Divya Shakti. And that Divya Shakti, that same Divya Shakti merges into Akshara Brahma. Akshara Brahma is the absolute reality. Infinite universes exist within Chidakash, Akshara Tattva. That is where Mahamaya ends. Then Mahamaya, and within the purest energy that is within Mahamaya, now the influence of the three gunas is gone. So the energy that was inside the three gunas has become synchronized within our Panchakosha, within our own system. The body is there, mind is there, Pranamaya Kosh, Annamaya Kosh, Manomaya Kosh, Sthul, Sukshma, Kara. The body is there, but the mind and the body have been transformed in such a way that only that divine and pure energy is flowing. Now, it's flowing in an undifferentiated state within, but because there's a body and senses and the material world, it is going to express itself for the benefit and kalyan and the service of the world. It does not express itself through sattva-gun, rajogun or tamagun. And such a being is called a Mahapurush, a Sadguru, a Satpurush, an enlightened being. Different names are there. Such a being lives totally free, living totally free. It could be a householder, it could be a sadhu, it could be a male, a female, a child, it could be anybody. But there's total freedom from the influences of the three gunas. Even though the same individual is experiencing the waking state, the dream state, the deep sleep state, but that experience is not like our experience. One is free in that experience. I'll give you a very simple analogy to make this point really clear. I hope this should clarify it. Let's say two people are sitting in a movie theater and the movie is on. You have those IMAX theaters with you put those goggles on and all that thing, and you feel like you're actually there. And let's say it's a pretty long movie. Person number one and person number two. The first person totally forgets that it's a movie and starts believing that's the reality. Person number two never loses sight of the fact that it's a movie, but still experiences the same reality. Person number two has forgotten the rest of his life, has forgotten who he really is, and is now one of those actors in that role, in that game. And person number two is totally free, but still playing the game. Still watching the movie, still doing whatever has to be done. this is the difference. Those who are in the sansar have taken this sansar as a reality that they are just, that they have gotten lost inside. They've forgotten who they are. Those who are enlightened see the same sansar, have the same experience, but are always free and are free to come out of that experience. They are free to leave the movie theater and go back into the Atma, back into the Paramatma. That's the difference. That when an individual is living freely this way, interaction is there with the people in the family, sansar, this, that, everything, job, whatever, A to Z is going on. It is all a drama. That person does not ever get disturbed by anything that may happen. And that individual comes back into the godly state and rests in that. In the Vachanamrut, there's a Vachanamrut called MAYA and Khilanu Vachanamrut. I won't go into that right now, but it basically talks about just two statements I'll make about it. That just as birds, they go out all day, flying around, getting food, doing this, doing that. But eventually they come back to their nest for rest. That's called Mala and Khila. It's in Gujarati. See the analogy, see the observation. The great gurus and teachers like Sajanand Swami Maharaj, they taught by analogy. Every guru teaches by analogy. Every saint teaches by analogy. Because we do not understand these things directly. We can see the Prakriti, because Prakriti is also teaching us how to be free, if we have the wisdom to look and see the Prakriti in that way. So, just as the birds, they come back into their nest and they find satisfaction and rest, and they find ease there. Similarly, the enlightened being is always enlightened, interacting, but when the time is there for rest, for relaxation, one dives straight into the Atma. One is not stuck in the mind as we are saying, thinking this and thinking that. None of that is present. He's a Jivan Mukta, he or she. Jivan Mukta is a state where there is a non-entangled, non-frictional, pure energy interaction with the world outside. But the contaminants of the world, within the three gunas and the vibrations of the material world, never touch the individual under any circumstances. In fact, wherever such a being goes, whenever such a sage goes, there is purification going on. Such a sage goes into Acme or some particular grocery store, spends half an hour there, purifies the whole place. It just happens automatically because God is present there. God is walking with that being. This is the glory. This is the actual reality. But to move into such a state, the intention has to be there to go out of it, and that only really happens when we see the utter limitation of all three gunas. Of course, Sattva Gun, Sattvam Yat Brahma Darshanam, Srimad Bhagavatam. Sattva Gun is necessary. Sattva Gun is like a doorway into the Brahma Darshan. But the Sattva Gun has ego behind it. We see many of these saints with big titles. 1008 Mahamandeshwar Shri Shri Shri. Why? 100. There's so many titles. They may be very evolved and they may not have any ego. We don't want to say that they have any ego. But people are, this is, how it is in the sansar. People want name, they want titles, they want fame, they want disciples, they want this, they want that. Wanting any of those things closes the door completely into the gunatit state. Doesn't make any difference how many scriptures somebody knows, or how many, they might have 100,000 disciples or built thousands of temples. It means absolutely nothing. It's a very big zero. Some people make small zeros. The normal sansari people make small zeros, and some of these people caught in illusion are making big zeros for themselves. If it's a small zero or a medium-sized zero or a big zero, even a 1 mile zero, the value is still zero. It's not going to make, it looks like it's something big, it's nothing big at all. Because Gunatit state is a totally different matter. Baat hi alag hai. And that is where, if our destination is that, because if our destination is God, Paramatma, Dheyo Narayano Harihi, if that is really our destination, then the intense and total absorption using purified energy into the state of the Sadgurus, Satpurushas, that state, if you get attached to the personality, maybe a beginning, but that's certainly not the end. It's the love for the state of the Satpurush. And when you recognize that state, that is me, that purified energy dissolves, or it actually merges into the infinite space, infinite Chidakash. That is called Nirakara Akshara Brahma. So now, if the intention is to see God actually beyond Akshara Brahma, as in Swaminarayan Sampradaya, other Sampradayas, Gita also says, Tasmat Sharamati Toham Aksharadepi Chottama Atosmi Loke Vedesha Pratitah Purushottama. Read chapter 15, you will see. If you want to see God, then one has to consider God in that way, and so that's a metaphysical thing, then that vision also comes. So, the essence of all scriptures, the essence of all paths is to purify, is to extract that sugarcane juice from the sugarcane. That is the secret of every sadhana. That is the secret of every scripture. That is the secret that every guru holds. That is the secret that every enlightened being has. And it's not just on the spiritual side, even those who are highly progressed on the material side, they have done the same thing. They've extracted that energy and applied it in their area of interest. What an extraordinary thing. Bhagwan ki krupa, we can do this kind of Manan Chintan. It is my prayer to all of the incarnations, all the great gurus, present now, past, present, future, and to the Supreme Lord to bless us with more and more wisdom, so that we can all take the path further, and real knowledge, real understanding, true realization may dawn in our hearts, so that the barometer is for this is what? Ananda, Divya Ananda. That is a barometer. That's it. There's no other barometer. It's not somebody's going to give a stamp on Sachin Karnik's forehead saying now you're Gunatit or you're this or that's not going to happen. That's meaningless. It's an internal barometer. So with those thoughts, prayers to all. Thank you very much.